No.
Hi, my name is Sherilyn Long, and I am a massage therapist and master herbalist. I work over at the Coeur d'Alene Acupuncture and Holistic Healing. I'm also the president of the Shared Harvest Community Garden, which is where we're at here today. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys a little bit about introducing you to myself, of who I am, and then also to talk to you about solstice and to be part of this 2020 transformed event. So just a little bit about me is that I grew up in the Philippines, and I grew up around nature, and it was a really important part of my life. And due to some health events of myself as well as both of my parents, that I've started to look into the natural health world, and I'm delighted to learn and to work with the amazing human body and how we are designed to be able to heal and restore, and so that's what I do. I do medical massage at Coeur d'Alene Acupuncture and Holistic Healing. And so I just wanted to tell you a couple stories about from my childhood, and that have to do with the connection with nature. So the first one, I was in 6th grade. I was scrawny and little skinny kid, and there was a lot of amazing pieces of nature in the Philippines. I was crawling inside of a cave, and there's this place where there was a hole in the cave and a river down below. And so I had some friends that wanted me to crawl into the cave with them down to the very end. And they were behind me. We had to go single file and crawl with our flashlights to get to the end. And my flashlight all of a sudden bumped, and I saw right to the left of me, there was a giant spider about this big. And everything in me just tensed up. I was so afraid. And my friends behind me, they knew I hated spiders. And they said, take a deep breath, just breathe, and keep going. And so I took a deep breath, and I breathed, and I kept going. And I crawled, hands and knees, until all of a sudden the flashlight flickered again. And there, 1 inch above my nose, there was a spider that was the size of my face. And I started breathing deep. Everything in me tensed up. And my friend said, just take a deep breath. It's okay. It's so worth it what's there on the end. And I said, no, thank you. I'm backing up. You got to get out because it's single file. So I backed up, but everything in me had tensed over, and I was hyperventilating through that experience. So this other experience that I want to tell you is also about a cliff and about a river. I was in the water in a boat with my mother. She was behind me, holding me from behind. And we were floating up the river. We had a couple of guides with long poles, and they were digging in the water, and they were pulling us. They were standing there and getting us all the way to the top of this river. And my mom and I held each other. We breathed deep. We were relaxed. We looked around. There were beautiful cliffs on the other side of us, and we sang songs together about faith and love, and we just held one another as we took in this amazing experience of the river. As we got to the top, we got out of our boats, and there was a whole group of people. My father and my brother were on a different boat, and a bunch of other people, and we climbed onto these rafts. And we were all piled onto these rafts together as a community. And they took these ropes and they pulled these ropes. And as we went further and further and further underneath the Pangasinan Falls. These waterfalls just poured, and we were soaking wet, and we were relaxed, and we were laughing, and we were so joyful. We felt it in every single fiber of our being. When we were done soaking wet, we jumped back into our boats and floated back down, laughing down the river. Being in nature has an amazing way of touching the soul. We can have these moments of fear, just like my first event, that gets forged into your mind, but also these amazing experiences of joy and of ecstasy. Those nature experiences can stick with you for the rest of your life, because we all, humans, are made to be connected to nature. Nature isn't separate from us, it's part of us. We're made in a certain way. We're made to sing, we're made to dance. Those are natural things. Movement, touch, breathing fresh air, and enjoying life together. Eating good food and smelling the beautiful scents from the trees and being outside, gardening in a community garden together. These are all part of being in nature. So as a massage therapist, I work with muscles. I work with detoxification. As a medical massage therapist, I work with the body in its own ability to be able to heal and repair itself. And I love connecting people back to the original design of what we're made to do and what we're made to be. And using the body in a way to be able to do that, using natural plants. And in the middle of the darkness and in the middle of the solstice time, before we get to the solstice, we're getting darker and darker before we get there. We've experienced this thing in the middle of this year. It's been a really, really hard year for so many people, for all of us, really. We've all been in this together. And so in those moments, just like when I was in 6th grade and my muscles get locked up, what I've noticed is that we're all holding our breath, just waiting for it to pass. So our lungs are getting tight, and our hip muscles and our psoas is tightening up, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute here. But it's all tightening up, and we're finding that those feelings of fear and anxiety are getting locked into our bodies. So when I'm working with people, it's helping to find a way to be able to release that. Self-care is so important, but there's a gift in the middle of this. There's a gift in the middle of the pain. And just as we found ourselves going through this, we can find the things that we're made for again and start to implement those things. The feelings of fear, the moments of trigger, that we can connect with those things in a way and realize what we can let go of and the habits and patterns that we can bring back into our lives during this time. So I want to tell you about the psoas. I read this book recently. This is actually multiple times that I read this. My book is very beat up right now because it's very loved. And this is written by Liz Cook with Core Awareness. And this woman, she used to have scoliosis, and she's been focusing on body awareness. So the psoas muscle, it's called the iliopsoas. It's actually two different muscles that are connected. It goes from the thoracic 12, so T12, and it goes all the way down through the hip over and attaches on the inner side of the lesser trochanter of the femur. And then the iliacus is a fan-shaped muscle that goes inside of the pelvis. And this muscle has been associated with fear. It's a stabilizer, a balancing muscle. And it's also been associated with joy and with ecstasy. So your diaphragm sits above, and all your organs are on inside. So the health of your organs are directly impacted by the psoas muscle. The psoas muscle also affects your breathing. When we experience anxiety and fear, we often hold our breath and our muscles tighten up. And if you want to try this, you can try the feelings of what happens when you get startled. Just you lock up, right? That's the psoas inside of there that's getting locked up. And it affects the rest of your body. So one of the things that I suggest is doing a constructive resting phase and other things to be able to, we work in it in massage, but people can do stuff on their own too, to be able to release that psoas and relax it. So then that way you can move through life and much more fluidly and not have that muscle memory of fear and anxiety locked up into your body. So it is the keystone to a well-balanced and organized life. And that is the center of where your attitude, your fear, your heart sits right on top of that diaphragm, and the muscles and the aorta goes all the way through by that psoas. So that's part of your blood pumping to where it needs to go. They're all connected. So I want to show you something that you can do to help release that psoas. So I'm going to stand up here for a second, and I've got a towel because it's cold and there's snow everywhere. I want to give you some tips that you can use. I'm going to just do this right here. As an herbalist, one of the things that I find is that everything, even the weeds and the forgotten things, have an impact. So then as we're working out these places of fear that might be locked up inside of our bodies, recognize that there's a gift there too. So I'm going to do this. Now, one of the keys is you're going to lie back, and it's just a simple posture that most people might recognize, but the difference is that you don't want to readjust your low back. You just want to lie down exactly how you are. So if some people have more of a curve in their spine, don't try to adjust it. Just let the body be the body, the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so you lie back down here and you pay attention to those hip flexors. And all you do is, so most people will kind of try to readjust that low body, but you don't want to do that. You just want to stay here and you want to focus in on those hip flexors. So as you do that, you would pay attention to asking yourself and feeling, is there any emotion that is locked up into these muscles? Oftentimes, our emotions are locked in there, we have a body memory. And so as those release, we can start to feel some of those feelings. Sometimes when the psoas starts to release, people might be able to feel pain or fear, because it's those things that are locked up in those muscles. Sometimes also your legs can shake. And if you do this for about 15 to 20 minutes, you'll start to feel that psoas muscle from down here all the way up into here slowly start to lengthen and release. And if you can do that each day, then that will help you be able to just go throughout your day. This is also a great exercise to do when you are going to be doing any other exercises. Suggest doing this first before any other exercises, so then that way you're doing it in a way that is stretched out and balanced, and it's not also damaging your body. We also do work on that with massage, but this is one thing that you can do on your own to be able to help with the psoas muscles. In a dark time, we're going to experience some light here pretty soon as we hit solstice. And again, there is a gift. In 1 square inch of agricultural land, there's thousands of seeds that are waiting for the right environment to be able to burst forth. So as we're nearing closer to the solstice, may you ask yourself how you can support yourself. What kind of environment would you create, so then that way you can experience joy in the middle of the trials of what we're going through. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful winter, and that you find a lot of beautiful things in the middle of this dark time as the light is starting to increase. Your body is where your home is. I hope you take care of it, and I'll see you in the spring. Take care.
Do you want me to stop it or just keep going? Huh?
Go show that. Show this is our shed. I'll do just a brief little thing about this. So here is a place where we collect a whole bunch of food for individuals that are in need. This has been a hard year, but we have actually collected far more this year than we ever have. So there's a gift in the middle of the trials. We have plenty of beds here that are all just pregnant with possibilities and waiting. And so I hope that you get to enjoy nature just as we do here with Shared Harvest.